Hello, YouTube friends. This is Dustin Bellinger. I'm coming tonight with an announcement for my 400 subscriber giveaway contest. And I originally had one plan for how I was going to run this contest. And then my life took a turn, and I experienced some events that changed my life, and then I decided I would change how I would do this contest as kind of just a tribute. And so this is going to be probably one of the most personal videos I've ever done here on YouTube, and it's going to touch on much more than just cards today. So thanks for tuning in, and I'm going to talk a little bit here. Last week, in the middle of the week, I got a phone call. So I was preparing to take my family on vacation. I got a call from my brother, and just to tell me that out of the blue, our dad had passed away. And to say it was a shock doesn't even do it justice, because I hadn't really considered the prospect of life without him in it uh, at all. And it was, so hard to, realize that we'd had our last conversation, and that we'd spent our last time together. It's the it's even now, it's hard to really feel like I've come completely to grips with the permanence of that, and it's a lot to take in. And I've spent the last 10 days in a lot of reflection and thinking about, my relationship with my dad, and then looking at that through the lens of, your friends and your acquaintances, and you see their relationships with their dads, and it's you you see, and man, how hard that can be. And I'd never fully contemplated just how hard this day was gonna be, and because I'd never contemplated really that it was that close. And which is, God, I'm getting ahead of myself. I, I want to show you this picture here. This was my dad. That little guy right down there in the picture, some of you might recognize him from my channel. That's Zach. This picture was taken about 4 years ago by me. Just was up by the house, and he was taking him out to walk through and stroll through the garden, because that was what he did. And it was, kind of the defining project of the latter portion of his life. And this here was a picture of him with my mom from my brother's wedding a few years back. But this picture was on the front here. This was about 4 years ago. And anyway, I know my dad was born in 1950. He was 68 when he died. Would have been 69 this fall. He was graduated from a small town here in Nebraska. Uh, Went to the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, and uh, graduated with a degree in uh, ag economics. And he'll, like me, his relationship with his dad was really important to him. And while he was away at college, his dad passed away. And, the things that happened after that really kind of shaped his adult life, because my dad grew up wanting to be a farmer like his dad. And having his dad die while he was attending college, suddenly, that put everything in flux for him. And, he didn't get that chance because the farm got sold, and what he wanted for his life was gone. And he spent really lots of years chasing after what wanting that farm and to do that, and was not always satisfied and happy with his life. And you see that as a kid, and it's hard to know your dad's dreams didn't really materialize the way he wanted them to. And he ended up having a chance later in life, to have that place out in the country, and he was able to run a market garden. And he produced and grew crops on about 2 acres, at the largest extent. He'd scaled back the last couple of years, and it was down to only about an acre now. But that was certainly a much smaller scale than his original dreams. And so it was, but it was good. It was therapeutic, I thought, for him, seeing him kind of find peace in that smaller, scaled down version. And taking more satisfaction, I think, in the men that his sons became and the dads that we were, because he did teach us a lot, about how to be a dad. And nobody's dad's perfect, and mine had plenty of failures along the way too, and failings. But it was, he certainly taught me the ways that I think I wanted to be a dad, and what I've done as a father. So God, I'm going on for a long time, and I'm going to go on for a long time. So if you don't want to hear, too bad. Make your own video, whatever. Yeah. So uh, my dad, he was huge into Husker sports, University of Nebraska. If University of Nebraska had a Tiddlywinks team that was top 25 in the nation, my dad would have been like following that Tiddlywinks team every week, every matchup, who they played, what was going on. He didn't know. I mean, my dad watched women's freaking college basketball, which has got to be one of the worst visual sports for anybody to have to endure. I mean, good lord, that's terrible. I can barely stand men's basketball, college basketball, because it's a dirty, dirty cesspool of a sport. But he watched every game, football, basketball, baseball, that the Huskers were involved in. He followed every sport that they were involved in. I mean, the University of Nebraska was so uh, much kind of a part of his identity, and seeing that. And Dad and I would talk, normally every week he would call me, and it normally would be the day after the games on Saturdays, and he'd call and say, "Hey, we'd talk about the games, and we'd talk about life and everything else." But we always spent much more time uh, than anything else, just talking college football, because that was really what he loved the most as far as sports go. And, you know, and a short conversation with dad on a Sunday was an hour, 90 minutes to 2 hours was much more the norm. And, get off the call and the wife's like, hey, what did your dad have to say? What did you guys talk about? And it's like, I don't know, nothing really important. We just talked. It's like there's so many times it's like we talked for so long, and I can't tell you, what necessarily we even talked about, because the conversations were always very free flowing, and shifting depending on what story he thought he needed to tell at the moment, and what points he thought he had to make. And a lot of times it's like I would just kind of let him talk for very long stretches of times. It's like he would have been great with this YouTube thing, and just able to talk without any interaction or feedback from the other end of the line, just going off on his narrative for a while. And uh, oddly enough, also, it's like talking with my brothers, I discussed that, man, it was unfortunate if we'd been kids growing up in this YouTube age, that we would have made some money. We'd have created a very popular channel. I have no doubt of it. We'd What we would have done simply would have been, uh, we would just buy a piece of furniture from IKEA, and then we would have it sent to the house, and have my dad attempt to assemble it on camera. Hidden camera probably, but we would just have him try to assemble it, and just let people see what that experience was like. And I just have no doubt that people would have watched the the frustration that he would often have with those types of things, and the colorful profanity that he would utter, that it would attract a following. And then we would probably be able to create T-shirts, that would just have his face on it, and just some expression of him's, possibly probably goddamn sons of bitches would probably be the one that we might go with, and so we would have T-shirts of goddamn sons of bitches that would, we'd create lots and lots of sell lots of those shirts. And it would be kind of like the opposite of like the Ryan's Toy Review, where those parents are making like $3 million off their kid playing with his toys. It's like we'd make like $1.5 million. It would be like, yeah, Dad, we made $1,000. Here's your cut. you know. And but all right, I've gone a long time here. I let you guys have indulged me here while I talked a little bit about my dad and how I felt about him, and so I appreciate those of you that stuck around through that and didn't just like fast forward through this so you can hear the contest rules. But okay, now this contest is gonna be pretty wide open. First off, I don't care if you subscribe to me. I don't care if you like this video. You can dislike this video and unsubscribe to me, and you can still be in my contest. I don't care. But what I will require from you is a video response. And uh, I want it before midnight Pacific time, Father's Day night, so a week from Sunday. And I want you to share something about either your father, or if you did, there are some of us I know that weren't blessed to have dads, or maybe not a positive father figure in their life, as at least from, say, a biological standpoint. But all of us should have, if not a dad, a male role model that helped to shape us. And I just want you to spend a little time and talk about them. If it involves your collecting, awesome. If it doesn't, no problem. I just want you to take a little time and pay tribute to that person. And if they're still alive, if you're that lucky, I hope you share that video with them. And if they're not, I hope it's a beautiful testimonial to everything they meant to you. So that's what I want. Uh, I think it's pretty simple. Uh, I don't, long, short, whatever, and one random winner. The prize is going to be $68 because Dad was 68. So, and I'll deposit that to your PayPal account. One winner via random drawing sometime after when I can make the video, but it won't be too long. Help me out and let me know you made one, because I'll try and watch them all, but let me know and I will work very hard to make sure I get everybody on the list and get that drawing done. So thanks for everybody for indulging me in this. Man, tell your dad you love him. That's all I can give you out there. And let the other people in your life know you love them too, because you could lose them faster than you even expect, and once they're gone, there's no more chances for that. So take them while you got them. All right. Thank you again, everybody. I'll catch you next time. Bye.